Hey, what's going on, guys? For today's Mook review, we're taking a look at another issue of HJ Mechanics. This is the Hobby Japan Mechanics series. This would be volume 16, all about Zeon mechanics, Zeon mobile suits in here from the One-Year-War specifically, it seems like. So it's going to be very awesome. A lot of very cool models collected for this particular Mook. Let's go ahead and check it out here for today's video. All right, so starting off right here on the front, we got this very cool image of the two Zaku 2s in this kind of city diorama scene. We can see the MSRP for this issue up here at 2,200 yen. Seems like a little bit higher compared to other Mooks that we've seen of like similar thickness, as this issue is not particularly all that thick, about 130 pages roughly. I guess that's 2,200 yen with tax. 2,000 yen is the MSRP, so about, I don't know, $17, something like that in today's currency anyway. Here on the back we have this very cool goof in which is remodeled from an old kit, something sort of like an old to gold possibly. But here we have our table of contents on the front inside page, and interestingly also this book progresses in like not Japanese style, which is like backwards for us Westerners. It goes in kind of normal Western style anyway. But really cool image there to start us off. And let's see here. So here we got a bunch of Zakus, and I think this is just sort of like an introduction to the theme here for this issue, with it being the Zeon mechanics. And here we've got some more introduction here. So about the Principality of Zeon, a bunch of anime stills from First Gundam, and information about a bunch of the One-Year-War Zeon mobile suits here, including some of the mobile armors over here as well, like the Brow Bro, which we saw on the first page there. Not sure if we're going to see a Big Zam in here. I'm just hoping that we see a new model kit of the Big Zam at some point. Hoping for an HGUC Big Zam. We'll see. Right, first off, this is the Master Grade 2.0 Zaku 2, here modeled by Yu Fua. Really beautiful work here on the Zaku 2. One of the modifications that immediately pops out to me is this modification here to the front section of the front skirt there. It kind of made it more blocky rather than how it appears originally. The hands are also a little bit different there. But they went for the full green hands rather than the like fingers being in gray. I do like that. We also got some tan here for the frame. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of that aspect as well. A little bit of mixed tan and gray for the inner frame details, kind of gray for some of the inner pieces, inner pieces, and then like this kind of secondary layer of the frame, I guess. Or anyway, they kind of split it up for some of the frame to be in tan. Really nice work here on this. It's super clean. Really love the colors on it here as well too, with the colors being a little bit more lighter and desaturated compared to like a kind of standard color scheme. It looks really good there, and nice gradient painting for the heat effect there on the Heat Hawk. Also looks really nice. I wonder what action base this is actually. I guess it's just a clear Benda action base. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, not really important to the build, but just kind of interesting there. All right, and then we are going to have some work in progress here as well, it looks like. So this was actually modeled based off of the Char's version, and then just repainted to the standard green type. But you can see the shoulder shield was made wider. The front skirt and torso were just kind of reshaped a bit there. The head was also reshaped a bit, basically making the gap for the eyes, kind of the visor gap there, I guess, a little bit narrower, which is a pretty common modification you'll see a lot of people doing. Basically the top part of the head, adding a layer to the underside of that to make the gap a little bit thinner. It basically just gives the Zaku a more mean look to the eye. So it's a pretty cool, and like I said, pretty common modification you'll see quite a bit. All right, here we have some more Zaku 2s, once again based off of the Master Grade 2.0 kits. This is a diorama built and described by Yoshitaka Chotoku. This is obviously the one that we saw on the cover, and here we can see it just kind of in more detail. The cover was just focused on these two Zakus here, but we do have a third one over here in the scene, and a bunch of big buildings here around, and a whole bunch of messy wreckage below them. There in this city scene, you have like the spent bullet casings here on the ground there as well from the Zaku machine gun. Pretty cool looking scene here. On the next page, once again, we're going to have some work in progress here as well. It looks like work in progress mostly focused on the buildings and the scenery that we have in here, the diorama aspect of it. So like showing scratch building a couple of the buildings here, and then making the like rubble effect and everything. So there's all of that. Moving on to another Zaku 2. This one is the 144 scale HGUC Zaku 2. modeled by Manabao Kimura, with some really nice weathering here on this one. This is definitely going to be the older HUC Zaku 2, I would imagine. I'm not sure, or is it the newer version? I don't remember how old this particular issue is. When did this come out, actually? Oh, this came out in June of 2023, last year. So yeah, this probably would be the newer HUC. It's annoying that Bandai doesn't use the Revive label anymore, because they could just label it HGUC Zaku 2 Revive version or something like that. It would be easier to figure out, but I mean, I can tell just by looking at it. It definitely looks like the newer version. I just wasn't sure if maybe they had just taken the older version and just made it look a lot better. Certainly could have been the case. But anyway, we just have these 2 pages before we move on to the next build. So not really too much for work in progress. We have a couple of images over here in this bottom corner and a couple of detail images over there, but for the most part, just some nice full body photos here of this. But yeah, there's some really nice kind of sort of subtle weathering bits here around the joints, the thighs, the shoulder up there. So some really nice kind of weathering hints around here and there on this one. It looks really good. I like that. And I like the missile pods on the legs there, showing that one of the missiles in each of the pods has already been used. Kind of cool little added detail. So here we got the Zaku 1 now. This one is by Hiroshi Sarai. This is the old type 1/100 scale kit. So the old, I'm not sure if it's the real type color version or not. The markings and the coloring seems definitely like the real type version. But anyway, there's 2 different versions, the 1/100 scale old Zaku kit, the regular version and the real type color version. Anyway, this one as well, really nice remodeling here on this one. Obviously, again, I mean, if you guys have ever messed around with any of the old 80s kits, you know that they're pretty rough. So to get it looking this good, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into these, and we do have a little bit of work in progress again over here. Again, I wish we had more. Here is interestingly showing how he built the switch for the LED mono eye into the backpack, which is very cool. So that's just a removable part there with magnets so that he can switch the LED on and off. That's very cool. And yeah, it looks great. Really nice painting, really nice weathering here on this one again as well. And those markings on there, of course, super cool. Love the real type color markings. And here we got the goof that we had on the back. And this one is actually the 1/100 scale master grade goof 2.0 actually. And he made the 2.0 to look like an old 80s kit, which is very interesting. So this one is modeled and described by Duva or Dova. It's kind of sometimes hard to know how it's meant to be pronounced when they just use a pseudonym like that. Anyway, yeah, really interesting how this is modeled to make it look like the old kind of style, but it has a lot of really great details on there. So like some of this like scribed detail here on the forearm, the spring used for the heat whip here is pretty interesting. So there's a lot of really cool customization here on this one. It's going to be maybe hard for you guys to see, but hopefully you can see it. There's like these lines across here, lines across the lower leg here, across the skirting armor of rivet holes. And it's just basically in a line across. So instead of scribing a line, it's a line of rivet holes, which is kind of very interesting. We also have some of these scribed details of like ovals with rivet holes in them here on the feet and the backpack there as well. And the markings and weathering on here is also really cool. You have some like directional weathering showing like weathering from the blast from the backpack there on the back skirt. So a lot of really cool stuff here going on with this build. I gotta say, it's really impressive. Very, very cool. You can tell somebody's definitely a big goof fan. He's even got the decal up here on the shoulder, and it looks like there's not any other. Okay, we got some more photos. Hopefully there's a closer up. Here you go. Closer up photo there of the decal on the shoulder. It's the kind of like goof girl. I'm sure a lot of you guys have maybe seen it before. It's like a kind of Mekamusume art version of the goof there up there on the shoulder. That's really awesome. Yeah, it looks fantastic. So here you can see the work in progress and like the original kit compared to this one. I mean, you can see there's just a lot of modification done on there, all the putty and everything, all that work done on it. So that's pretty awesome. I gotta say, very impressive. All right, moving on to the Dom now. This is the 100 scale master grade kit by Kojima Dai Taicho. This looks really awesome as well. Kind of cool effect here for the first image, how you have like the kind of heat mirage sort of effect here added to the photo to make it look like it's kind of like zooming along there, all the dust effects and everything as well too, but that looks cool. Really nice work here on this. I love this added detail of like the kind of vents around the bottom of the feet there. And again, like we've seen with the past couple of them, really nice, very subtle weathering on here to make it look very realistic. It's just like kind of like some weathering, and like any good weathering would be, it's very realistic to be kind of around the joint areas and stuff. So like up here around this shoulder joint, around the knee joint, is kind of some of the areas where you can see the weathering is a bit more apparent, other than just the kind of general sort of like glaze of dust kind of over the entire thing, which also looks really nice. Kind of really cool detail added here on the back of the leg as well. It's kind of open vent kind of detail there on the back of the leg, also on the kind of back side, sides of the back skirt, I guess would be the best way to put that. Right there, man. A lot of really great stuff on there. And even under the hood too, over here there's an image showing the detail of the painted details of the frame underneath the leg armor there, which looks awesome as well. We got a couple work in progress photos here, actually more than a couple, quite a few nice work in progress photos here for the DOM on the next page. And of course, like we've seen with everything so far, all of the text in here, of course, all going to be Japanese. All right, another DOM here with a little bit more heavy weathering on it, which looks pretty cool, I gotta say. This one is by Takuji Yamada. This is the master grade 100 scale kit once again. Yeah, with some much more heavy kind of scoring on here. I'm guessing that's supposed to, I'm guessing that's not like intentional, where you would like texture the armor to look like kind of like textured armor, but it looks like it's meant to be sort of like scoring just from space battle, right? So maybe we're seeing like the effects of beam weaponry used against this, or just explosions or whatever. Anyway, so you can see like some scoring, charring on the armor from some explosions here and there on the arm. It's done in a really, really interesting way, a really quite unique way that looks super realistic, I have to say. I mean, I don't know what, what realistically explosions in space on a 18-meter tall mobile suit would look like, but it does look like that's, I can imagine it would look something like that. Sure. There's quite a lot though. The only thing that makes it kind of a little bit less sort of believable looking is that there's so much of it all around the mobile suit. I mean, imagining that there's been so many explosions around the front, back, side, up, top, bottom, everywhere. Like this thing's been in battle a lot. And I mean, like it kind of makes sense, but I would say it's maybe almost a little bit too much of that. It's a really, really cool effect, but I think it didn't really necessarily, like having it all over the place sort of kind of loses the believability a little bit for me. What do you guys think? It's a really cool effect anyway, at the end of the day. I do really like it. All right, we've got an underwater Zigok here. This one's the 100 scale master grade kit, modeled and described by Enosuke Shodai Hino. And I'm not sure if that's an actual underwater photo. Sometimes I've seen people actually put their models underwater and photograph them. There's one builder in particular that I know, I can't remember the name, but on Twitter often does that, because I think he has like two hobbies, Gunpla modeling and scuba diving is kind of the sense that I get. But anyway, yeah, I think that's just photoshopped, because the rest of the photos here are all just kind of your normal kind of standard photos. Really interesting modeling here on this one, as we've got a bunch of these sort of like vent scribing bits in here around on the design, and it's also done in like a very interesting gloss on it. So we don't normally see a lot of models in these Mooks and stuff with a gloss coating, unless it's something like a metallic, like a Hyakushiki or something like that. In just kind of a normal, especially like One-Year-War mobile suits like this, Zeon mobile suits that are always kind of portrayed in a little bit more kind of realistic sense. We normally don't see them in like a high gloss, and it's not necessarily like a high gloss. It's a really nice finish on it. It looks really good. But that glossy finish just kind of adds to the very clean and pristine look here of this. So you can see it's a couple of work in progress photos kind of mixed in between a lot of this here. And it looks like how he made these those line details was not actually scribing each bit, like scribe a little hole like that, which would have been definitely more challenging. It looks like what he did was actually just scribe like a rectangle gap and then fill that with this, which I'm not exactly sure what that is. It's something that has these holes in it that then he could just like cut a section of this and then just pop it in there and then you just have to make the transition invisible between the two to hide that in there. So pretty cool creative use of some material, whatever that material is, to use in there for those added details. It's very cool looking. I like it a lot. All right, then we've got the GOG. Yes, this is the 100 scale Master Grade kit once again. This one is by Tadanobu Kuniya. The GOG is certainly a mobile suit which has grown on me over the years. I definitely have a more appreciation for the GOG now than I did earlier on in life, I can say. But this one's quite interesting. We have this very unique paint, I don't know what to call it, scheme. It's not like a paint scheme, I don't know. It's sort of like a paint pattern anyway. This very interesting detail painted on the front of the GOG, which for the first photo here, really cool, again, like really cool photo effects added to that for these cannons in the torso right there. And you can see there's just a lot of really nice detail in here on this, aside from this like color gradient that we have on there as well. So some very interesting painting on it. And you can see that kind of detail has continued onto the back, and I guess it's sort of meant to look like sort of like some kind of beetle shell or something. It looks sort of like insect-like to me, is the sense that I'm getting there from that. And I guess looking how this is, I don't know, yeah, kind of on the front and how the design kind of carries onto the back there. I don't know, it's very unique anyway, very cool. And again, this one does also have a little bit of very, very subtle weathering in and around in a couple parts on it there as well. And some really nice details all around. I mean, I guess one of the reasons maybe why the GOG has grown on me a bit is just because when you see builds like this, it's such a kind of a blank canvas of derp that there's a lot of opportunity there to make it look more cool by adding some really interesting details to it. And there's certainly a lot of that here with this one as well. It's even got like on the back top of the head, these like circle details scribed in there. And it's really interesting. So we got a bunch more work in progress photos here for that, showing that. And I'm sure in the text, there's probably more information about like what the story is with the painting on that, but it's very cool looking anyway. We got the Act guy here next. This is the Master Grade as well by Kei Shimizu, and this one also looks very nice. Really cool photograph here on the front. You can see Char Zagok there in the background in this kind of night scene. Really bold photography choice, you know, having this professionally done model, and then you're gonna photograph it and like display it in a way where it's like barely visible, but it's still really cool to see here in this photo for sure. I'm guessing that there's an LED added in the mono eye, maybe, and maybe that's why it's shown that way. I don't know, or maybe that's just added in afterwards digitally, because it does look slightly different from how it looks on the actual kit over here. So maybe it's a little bit different. The B also I'm not too sure about. I'm not sure if that B is there as a kind of nod to the bear guy. I don't know, that's what immediately comes to mind for me, but I'm not sure if there's any other kind of reason why there might be a B on that. But really nice painting here on this one. We also have an image up here. Yeah, I'm guessing because it's like shown sitting in like the kind of cute bear guy pose here in this image with the children playing on the top of it. I'm guessing that the B is maybe a nod to the bear guy, possibly. But here you have the opening chest, cockpit details inside there as well, with the Zeon pilot sitting inside there. So some really cool details added into the chest there as well. Looks nice. All right, then the boss of the boss, we got the Gelgoog here. Up next, the Master Grade Gelgoog. This one's modeled by Shinichiro Sawatake. Really interesting work here on this one. A whole bunch of panel line and like scribing work done on this. You can see it's got the, what is that called? The rats something, this weapon here on the side of the arm. It's like a rat's raider or something like that. I don't remember. This particular like grenade launcher here, armament added onto the side of the forearm. It's almost a little bit too much scribing detail for my personal taste, but let me know what you guys think about this. Here you can see it with the bazooka over here on this side, and the beam rifle with grenade launcher there. So he's got all the different weaponry markings on here. Very cool. It's kind of like aircraft inspired markings, and also a little bit of modification, well actually quite a lot, done on the back of the leg. So it's got the high mobility type. Is it high mobility type or Gelgoog cannon style backpack? Anyway, I think it's like the Gelgoog cannon backpack just without the cannon, or high mobility type backpack, I'm not sure. But it's not from the high mobility type kit. It looks like that's from an older kit and just added onto the back there, or maybe from the 1.0. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, love this detail here on the back of the legs as well. So we have some external detail added with this kind of like little tank and detail parts added right here, which actually looks like uses, those might be like 30 minutes missions parts. I'm wondering if those are. Anyway, and then cutout detail here from the back of the leg. You cut out these sections and then just filled it with this kind of like wire mesh. It's pretty nice detail here as well. Here we can see like the inside of the leg armor, and you can see the shield with some like weathering impact marks and stuff all there on the shield as well. Also looks really cool. So awesome Gelgoog here. Last Gelgoog page where we can see some more work in progress images mixed in with some more final images there. You can see the LED is added in for the eyes, and it looks like the batteries and switch for the LED once again added into the backpack there. For the eyes, for the mono eye, I should say. LED there for the mono eye. So the backpack is the place to hide that. All right, moving right along, as we're not even to the halfway point of the Mook yet, we've got the Gyan. This is the Master Grade 100 scale Gyan, modeled by Matsuoji. And this one, again, does look very nice here. A lot of great details added on this one. So we've got it there in that first image, facing off with the RX-782 there, of course. And we got a bunch more images here of that. And the Gyan is another one that, it's not a mobile suit design that I really get too excited about, but you do see some really beautiful builds of the Gyan sometimes, and it's certainly cool to see. So this is a 1/44 scale Gyan here. This one's by Mochikomi Taro. This one is the old 1/44 scale, not high grade, but it's the old kit, it looks like. And this one, so you can see from the work in progress photos here, there it is, like before any painting is done on it. And it's definitely got that old look and charm to it, but it's really beautifully done, very clean and very beautifully painted there. The Zak. Now, yes, the Universal Century, high-grade Universal Century, Zak, is one modeled by Akinori Yoshimura. And it's such a goofy design, such an odd, interesting, unique design here. So here we have another underwater scene there with an Ak guy. And yeah, this one, I mean, it looks really nicely done there for sure. Really nicely painted with some nice pre-shading and everything on there. We have a blast effect part here used for the blast effect at the top of the head. And then on to the next page here, there's some more work in progress, I guess, just kind of showing maybe some of the painting progress, how the joints had to be masked for the seam line removal on this, because I'm sure it's got seam lines on the legs and arms and probably everywhere else there as well, so modifications had to be made for that. Also, once again, hiding a battery and switch inside the kind of head slash body of this for the LED for the mono eye. So very cool. There's a little bit about what paints were used here as well. And the Zeon. So how to build a Zeon, I guess, is a kind of article, I guess, in How to Build Gundam 2 is what was the reference for this build, looks like, by Keita Yagyu. This was the HGUC 144 scale kit. Here I can see right off the bat, or under the skirt here, a bunch of Kotobukiya vent detail parts added in there, very easily recognizable. But really nice work here on this. Really interesting kind of scribing detail here on the edge of the shoulder, just where the kit doesn't have a whole lot of like custom scribing on it necessarily. I think maybe this one here going around the back square as well. But that added detail on the edge of the shoulder is also kind of nice. So this is really cool to see. Here's a detail image of the underside of the skirt once again. Yeah, the HGUC kit. And so you can see here in this work in progress image, I'm not sure how well you guys can see it there, but the kind of bluish gray is the original like part, and then all the darker gray parts added are all these like Kotobukiya detail parts basically just added in there on that. So next, the ZakuAurelius. So now we're getting into some of the mobile armors now. We do have a big Zam on the next page. All right, cool. So the ZakuAurelius, this one by Kei Tadano. This is the Bandai 1:250 scale plastic model kit. So the old, which I believe is the only kit. I mean, it's not like there's an old and a new kit. There's only one ZakuAurelius kit available unless you like completely scratch build it. So yeah, it's the old 1:250 scale kit here, but really beautifully done as well for this one. I mean, it's such a goofy design, but yeah, there it is. I don't know. I'm not a big fan, I have to tell you guys, but for those of you guys who are ZakuAurelius fans. Okay, the Grubro. This one is certainly a more interesting design, I feel like, and this is a really cool paint scheme on this one. Really love the painting style. It seems like very Maschinen Krieger sort of style just in the finish here for the Grubro. This one is by Kei Shimizu. This is the 1:550 scale model kit there from Bandai. So you can see there's a couple of work in progress photos down here showing the kit unpainted with all of the plot plate details and resculpting there on like the top of the sort of head part, anyway, the top of it done. So really cool work in progress photos to see of that, and yeah, just really nice painting on that. I really like how that's painted. And we've got our 1/550 scale Big Zam by Hiroyuki Noda. This one is as like a little vignette here with this base, with the Big Zam base, and you have like these like big I-beams kind of sticking out of this like just space surface there, and a lot of crazy detail work, it looks like, added there onto the kit. I'm not sure, I'm not familiar enough with the stock kit to be able to recognize like how much detail the stock kit has. There's a couple of work in progress photos here. I think that's probably going to be about the extent of it. Yeah, unfortunately, just these couple of little small photos. But he used, it looks like LEDs and like fiber optic cables to go around to like all these light effects all around the outside of the Big Zam there. So he's got like scribing detail and like a detail with plot plate added onto there. So it's just detailed up a bunch. And this is not a very big kit, I don't think. I'm not sure. I think the kit is only like, you know, about like that big or something. I don't know, like about the size of like a kind of standard HG. It's not really all that large, as I'm aware of, but see there's like some detailed parts added, a whole bunch of like little greebly details added in and around some different sections too. So pretty cool work there on the Big Zam. Yeah, I'm hoping that we get like a larger, either like a HG Mechanics, if hopefully Bandai will bring that line back, or a HGUC Big Zam. I know it would be huge, but I mean, I think it could happen. I'm hoping. So anyway, we got the Big Row here. Next, mobile armor, and again, we can see in the work in progress photos over there how it's going to look before painting with a bunch of plot plate details added onto this. This is once again the 1/550 scale old model kit from Bandai, this one by Hiroshi Sarai. So, and over here in a couple more work in progress photos as well, you can see just kind of details added to the kit before it was painted to make it look pretty nice looking there. Very cool. Okay, and then we've got the Adzam up next here with Gundam. This one is in what scale? It's also 1/550 scale, modeled and described by Kyosuke Ozawa. Kyosuke, it's an interesting and difficult name. Anyway, yeah, I'm not too familiar with the kit, but I'm gonna guess that the kit included the tiny little 1/550 scale Gundam and also the Magella attack tank there, and this kind of like drone. I'm sure drone is not the right word for it. I can't remember the name of it, but that kind of like little drone bit there that's also included. But yeah, really nice modeling work here done on this. Again, these old kits, you know, they're challenging because they're, you know, they have like basically no color separation at all. They're just all one color and not really all that much detail on them. So whatever detail is there, you kind of have to enhance the detail. And then if you want to have any more detail, you have to add that all, you have to customize it. So it takes a lot of work to make these old models look as good as they do here. And they do look pretty nice. Here we have the Elmeth next. This one modeled and described by Pirobon. This is the 1/550 scale model kit there from Bandai as well. Once again, we've got a Char's Gelgug, and again, I'm guessing that's included with the kit, I believe. But some really nice work done here on the Elmeth as well. I think of all the different like One-Year-War Zeon mobile suits that I've seen people do like custom and or like scratch, like full scratch builds of, I think the Elmeth is probably one of the more popular ones that you see kind of a little bit more often than others maybe. I think for a couple of reasons, probably just because it's a cool design, and also because that's Lala's kind of mobile armor. I think it's probably just a lot of Lala fans out there. So here's the bra bro that we saw on the first table of contents page here, and it looks pretty awesome. Yeah, definitely. Again, just such a weird design. I can't say I'm like too big of a fan of the design. It's very it's different, but this model is very well done. This one as well here on the next page, seeing in more detail how it's made to kind of separate into the different sections. And we also have LEDs added into the back there, which look really nice, kind of add a really nice like light effect into there. And the kind of extension parts too, for the kind of top part to extend up like that. So certainly a lot of work went into kind of really making this, you know, like the ultimate model version. It has like the wires going out there for these parts on the side. Anyway, certainly a lot of love for this particular design from this modeler. All right, then getting into some like transportation here as well. We just got the Ga. This one is modeled by Pirobon. This is the 1 to 1200 scale model kit. So again, pretty small, as you can see just from the image here, work in progress image. I mean, it looks about like that big. Not very big model kit at all, but pretty awesome paint work there done on that big guy, or little guy, I guess, in this case. The Zanzibar here as well. This one modeled by Manabu Kimura. Getting even smaller in scale. This is the 1 to 2400 scale. So I'm not really sure if we've got some work in progress photos we can see, but I don't think that we do, to see just about how big this is. But yeah, I'm guessing it can't be too much larger than, you know, something really, really small like that. But that looks pretty cool there as well, with this kind of like revolver chamber looking booster bit there on the back end of that. Very cool anyway. Cool to see some like ship modeling in here included as well. And from there, it looks like we're gonna kind of change gears again to something a little bit different. Now this is getting into some more like diorama work. This is a very like to the complete opposite end of the scale spectrum in 1/35 scale now. This is the UC Hardgraph model kit, is like the base of what's used here for this. The Hardgraph Zeon Mobile Suit Scout set here, modeled by Kojima Daitaicho. As you can see, it's sort of like this jungle roadway scene here with the truck and all these Zeon soldiers and the Zeon kind of like hover bike there on the back of the truck, and some different soldiers just kind of working on some different stuff there. So it looks really cool. Yeah, really cool scene there with the like big statue head in the background and this big like temple wall there and everything. So really awesome work there done on that. Next one is a Magella attack kit. Here is the 1/44 scale EX model of the Magella attack tank. Yeah, so it's kind of cool to have the EX models included here as well. Also, you don't really see them getting a whole lot of love too often in 1/44 scale kit. This one as well, I'm not too familiar enough with the original kit to know how detailed it is, but it looks pretty detailed here. So I'm guessing some of that detail was maybe added by the modeler. In this case, it's by Kyosuke Ozawa, but we've actually got two of them here, as you can see, in like different paint schemes. One is in a kind of more darker camo paint scheme. Another one is in sort of just like this light desert tan kind of color. Really, really cool. Yeah, and just again, it's cool to see something so different in here included as well. Got some other different aircraft, the Lugan and the Sea Length, a couple of other like just different transportation ships here from the Zeon One-Year-War in some pretty small scale there. I would say these are in 1/44 scale for these, modeled by Takuji Yamada. This one kind of with this desert, I guess, mountain background, and this one there on the water there, obviously. We've got Rambaral Commando, the diorama built and described by Katsunari Kakuta. This one is using, let's see, EX model Samsan trailer, which is back over there. The HGUC Hardgraph, Zaku, the Ground War set, which is where the tank comes from, I'm guessing, and the HGUC Goof, and the Zaku also from the ground set. So all in 1/44 scale, kind of collection of different elements here for this diorama. Here we can see it from above, where we can kind of get a better sense of the scene here. So we've got Rambaral, a couple of Zakus, the transport truck, and tank. Down here, the tank, in this case, that should be destroyed, right? That would be an EFSF tank, isn't it? Anyway, or an EFF tank. And then you can see there's some custom work done to modify the Goof's like machine gun hand there to make it into this kind of hand and fist kind of pose that had to be modified. I like that. And you can see there's some work in progress on just kind of like the ground of the diorama scene. Photos up there, work in progress photos of the trees as well, for example. It's cool stuff. And some more ship modeling here, the 1 to 1700 scale Musai, modeled and described by Orange Ebis. Again, really cool kit. Cool to see the inclusion of some more ship models and some really teeny tiny Zaku 2s there, and LED added in here for this one as well. LEDs for like the back kind of bits right there. Up next, how to build Gundam. So this one, I guess, is, I'm not sure if this is an article taken from that How to Build Gundam 2 book, or if this is just kind of a work that was inspired by that one, because I think that's probably the case here. I think this is like a article now that's inspired by an article from that How to Build Gundam 2 book. Anyway, would be my guess. But this is a 1/44 scale old desert Goof, I think it is, right, that we've got here. And so it's going to show how to take the old 1/44 scale Goof kit and remodel it into something a lot more cool looking here. Just old to gold, right? So it's a step-by-step guide here, which would certainly be very useful if you were maybe, entering into like a old to gold type of contest or something like that in the future, I would say, maybe. Shows step by step how to modify some of these parts. Let's see, modifying the head there with some cutting, some plot plate, adding some metal bits in there, metal spring and antenna parts, seam line and removal there on the shoulder, and modifying the shoulder spikes and the arms, the hands, the backpack, which the backpack looks almost entirely scratch built there. I'm sure it's probably a mix of a couple different things with some scratch building in there as well. And then the logos, hand painting all of your decals on it. Certainly a challenge for sure. But yeah, the Zeon markings and some of these other logo markings around on there, all the markings on this one all hand painted on, which is pretty impressive. This one is by who I'm looking for who the modeler is for this one, just because now that I'm looking at it, I didn't recognize the goof right away, but looking at this, I definitely recognize this Desert Dom straight away, and I can't remember off the top of my head the name of the modeler who did that. I'm wondering if it's not Matt? I don't think so. But I can't think of it, who the modeler is. But I know I definitely recognize that build. So I'm just kind of trying to look to see if I can see where's the modeler's name for this one. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, but very cool. All right, so we got another kind of special talk section here with Nobuyoshi Habara, who's a mechanic designer. I guess who would be maybe behind some of the Zeon mobile suit designs. And so it's kind of like an interview section here, and then you can see some artworks up there at the top. That's going to kind of just continue with more interview text, artworks up there, works 2 and works 3. Some other different, obviously non-Gundam stuff there is kind of what it's featuring. So a bunch of other different mechanical design stuff. Works 4, continuing on here, Zoids, etc. And the Zabungle. So here's a section that's going to, I think this is going to be one of our last sections here. We got a little bit more. But a section here about the Zabungle model kit. And this is, let's see. Okay, so this is the Hasegawa kit, but I believe there was also recently a Moderoid kit, I want to say. Can't remember. I know there was a recently released kind of new model kit of the Zabungle. Maybe it was this one, or maybe it was Moderoid. I can't remember. But again, just showing some different step-by-step guide images here, kind of work in progress images, how to kind of tips for how to model this kit, which is very cool to see. And finished photos with some very nice weathering. We got some weathering tips here as well, with some very nice painting and weathering done on that one. Got some more images here now of this by Nobuyuki Sakurai. It was the 1/72nd scale model kit, and yeah, it's really, really nicely done. So all the little details and again the weathering on this one is really nicely done there. And then what do we got next here? Some more. Looks like this is kind of maybe like vintage artwork and stuff for some of these. I'm not sure. Yeah, it does kind of look like that. Vintage artwork and just kind of promotional images, maybe from different publications and different toys and things like that, kind of over the years. So that's kind of cool to see. A little kind of restaurant feature here, interestingly enough. It's a little cooking recipe, how to make this kind of fish sandwich there, it looks like. All right, fair enough. Seems a bit odd, out of place, I don't know, but with like some of the Zeon mobile suits and Zeon like aquatic mobile suits and aquatic mobile armors and stuff like that, I guess it kind of makes sense, fish sandwich, right? Another little section here with some nice Zeon mobile suits there. Our credits page here at the back, and then see you in the next issue where it's going to be Hello VFAM. So that would be issue 17, I guess, that came out in September of last year. I don't have that one, so we won't be taking a look at that, but that's going to do it here for this Mook. A lot of stuff in there, as you can see. So even though we didn't necessarily have a high page count, as I said, it's about 130 pages, which is kind of a little bit on the smaller side when it comes to Mooks like this. There's a lot of stuff packed in there. So a lot, especially if you're into One-Year-War Zeon mobile suits, there's a lot to see in there. So as I was saying before, that the price seemed a little bit high for this at 2,000 yen MSRP. I think actually it's probably pretty well worth it just for the amount of content that you have in there. There's a lot of stuff. So let me know in the comment section what were some of your favorite builds from this. I have to say probably this goof was probably my favorite. There was some really cool stuff in there though, for sure. So let me know your favorites. If you guys want to check out some more of the model kits and paints, tools, supplies, and everything else, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store, where we got all that stuff there for you guys to check out. And as always, guys, leaving a like, making sure that you're subscribed, leaving a comment, all of that definitely helps out as well. So I really appreciate you guys for all of your support. Thank you so much. Till next time, have a great day, guys. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.